We are parents and we were children. You know, children often tell little fibs or so-called white lies. And one of the criticisms of ADHD children is they tend to lie. And they tend to be branded as children that are liars. And I'd like to talk about why children with ADHD lie. You know, a lot of it has to do with the self-control, executive functions of the brain. And they are impulsive. They often talk about things in their daily lives and their schoolwork. They sometimes forget a lot of the time. Often in my practice, I will have children, when I assess them, ask them how things are going at school, you know, what their grades were in the last term or what their grades were last year. Often children have no concept. They actually can't remember. They live in the moment. So often when you ask them particular things that happened in the past, particularly if it is something that is in the far distant past, they don't really remember. Then they fabricate because they are worried about the consequence. So they come up with fabricated and generated answers. You know, as kids get older, the untruths can become more sophisticated. For instance, you know, when kids go to sleepovers, they often come up with excuses and come up with reasons why they have to go and not go. And, you know, children with ADHD, they don't see the immediate consequences of what they are saying. They don't think ahead. So, you know, they don't make good decisions. So, you know, you've got to really take control, particularly when they're teenagers, where they go out, who they're going to go and visit, little sleepovers, and the behaviors become more risky. They're more likely to be exposed to addictive substances, and they have impulsive natures. And they don't necessarily see the consequence. Their lives are in the moment. So when you ask them about things like that, they might really not give you the truth. So the consequence of lying in teenage years can be significant. Rather find out the facts. This is where being an executive parent really comes to its own. You've got to take control. You really got to make sure that you provide that supervision, that self-control that your child can't exhibit. And I'm afraid it goes through right up until they leave school, particularly the first couple of years after school. You know, the official ending of adolescence is age 25, when your frontal cortex matures. You know, one of the other things that I'd like to talk about is just a few tips on how to deal with this. Don't take it personally. Try to remember that kids with ADHD, they're not really trying to defy you and disrespect you. They're often trying to struggle with the sequence of doing things and impulsively. Try and remove the shame of lying, the consequence of, if they feel like they can confide in you, talk to you, they're more likely to tell you the truth. And find out what led to the lie. Often a confusing mistake led to a problem that led to a lie on a lie. Often there's a really logical underlying reason for that. And you know, if you're not sure, don't just ask about it. Make sure that you fact check. Go and find out. Get the facts from the school, understand. And you know, I think so teenagers that end up living lives independently, they're worried about invasion of their privacy. This I find is a real area where parents need to be vigilant. Hope that helps.